Hello, friends.
And Mike Idle. And
hello, friend.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Great. It just feels good to be here. That's all I'm going to say. It feels good to be here. So.
Are you having some audio issues, Jason, or just?
Well, I'm still working on the new studio. Does my mic sound okay, guys? Do I sound clear?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, God, sounds good. So I got myself a mic, and I'm just trying to get everything figured out. So welcome everybody to Outlawed Live. Co-host Jason Schultz here with Mike Idle, with the guy in front of the green screen, Ron Stone. So tonight, I think we're talking to Neves Farms tonight, aren't we? About Louisville, Ronald?
So. Yes, Cameron Neves and Seth Markey. Of course, Cameron driving the only modified representing the Outlaws next week at National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville. And of course, Seth driving one of 6 two-wheel drives, all coming out of the state of Texas, representing the Outlaws next week at the National Farm Machinery Show.
For those of you watching at home, let us know where you're watching from tonight, and let us know if you're going to Louisville or if you're going to watch it on the live stream at watchpulling.tv. I feel like, I don't know, Mike and I talk about this a lot, Ron, with social media, but I don't know if more pullers are sharing their National Farm Machinery stuff now more than ever, or just because the algorithm knows that's what we want to see. But I definitely feel like I'm seeing more pullers share, getting ready. Sullivan's put a video up the other day, starting up the mod. It's got like 500,000 views yet. And then I see we got Cameron and Seth sitting down there in front of Cotton Candy. So how can you guys hear us tonight from Texas? Cameron, Seth, can you hear me now? Hello? Ron, can you still hear me?
Cameron, yeah, I can hear you. Cameron, Seth, can you guys hear us?
We can hear y'all. Can y'all hear us?
Yep, we can hear you. Looks like you guys have got the best seat in the house parked in front of that beautiful mod, but I notice it's only got 2 on it right now. When's the third one get strapped on?
You gotta lean over.
Oh, he's hiding.
It's already on there.
It's already there. There it is. I can just see it peeking behind you now.
I think Seth's head. His big head was blocking the third motor there.
This is what one of the Cameron, you and I talked at the banquet a little bit about the opportunity to drive this modified with the 3-engine setup, and this is one of only 2 times of the year where you run this setup. Is that correct?
This year, we're fortunate to get invited to the truck show in March.
Oh, excellent. Wonderful. That's great. So talk to us about the immediate differences. This is one of those things, you and I have spoken a little bit before about how the horsepower to weight ratio at 7,400 pounds and 2 Hemis is really just a bread and butter class. What changes do you have to make when you strap that third one on as far as driving or anything else that the fans might want to know?
The rear end, of course, is to compensate for the third engine. We'll run more front end weight. Need to get after pretty quick because the way the sled comes on you so fast.
Yeah, that's been one of the most common themes that Ron and I have seen over the past couple of weeks when we talk to drivers talking about Louisville. You can't give yourself that first 100, 125 feet to really get a hold of the track and feel it in your pants. You kind of got to know that you're grabbing it by inside of 50 and then jump on it as quick as you can. Because if you don't have it locked and that speed built up, that box is chasing you. We can just barely hear you guys, but we're going to do everything that we can with it. Ron and Jason, are they quiet on your end too?
Yeah, it's kind of coming and going a little bit. It's in and out, really.
All right. Is that any better?
It's a little better. It still sounds a little muffled for some reason.
Well, we're rocking with what we got, Ron.
All right, that's better.
It's better?
Yep, well, it was.
I bet we can make it work. How far of a drive is it to Louisville, Kentucky from where you guys are at? Is that pretty standard for how far that you drive to all your outdoor pulls in the outlaw season, or is that one a little bit further?
To Rock Valley, Mike. I mean, not much difference.
Sure.
Okay, when are you all leaving for Louisville?
We're gonna leave Sunday morning, Ron.
Sunday morning?
Yes, and we're gonna drive to Joplin. Spend the night Sunday night and then drive the rest of the way Monday.
Okay, can you get in the pits there Sunday night?
You're gonna park on the outer parking lot, and we won't be allowed to go to the Broadbent parking lot until Tuesday about lunch, a little after lunch.
Okay. So what different do you do to the tractor, Cameron, besides, of course, adding another engine? What do you do differently with the tractor for Louisville that you don't do for an outdoor pool?
Or outside, Ron, it's just that we changed the ratio in the rear end to speed it up to compensate for the third engine. We're a little bit more front weight because we added more power, but as far as indoor, outdoor, not anything really different.
Will you check the air quality in the arena?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something you normally do outdoors as well?
Yes.
What are you looking for when you do that? You know, I know people always talk about, cool air versus warm air, but talk to us about the science behind that and how you're measuring it and what you're looking for.
To the altitude, Mike, and the cooler the air, the better the air will be. Lower altitude, of course, too. But the cool air really makes a big difference.
And the cool air, of course, works in your favor. Is there such a thing as the air being too cool for you?
I don't know. I think we got enough rain to compensate for that. But the cooler the air, the more fuel we give the engines.
I was looking at the weather in Louisville, Kentucky when we're all going to be there, and it looks to be one of the colder National Farm Machinery shows that I've seen in a while. We're going to be looking low 40s for highs and teens for lows. So she should be breathing good. Fun opportunity too right now while we're talking about modifieds that run at Louisville. All the different, you talk about putting the third one on, but there's a little bit more to it than that when we talk about blower sizes. Now in the Outlaws, you can run 2 Hemis with 1471 blowers, but at the Louisville show, you can run 3 Hemis with 1471s, but we'll see other modifieds at Louisville running 4 Hemis with 871s. Do you like the 3 combination over the 4 combination? Do you like the 2 over the 3? Talk to us about that a little bit and tell us your personal preference.
I'm more comfortable with 2 motors instead of 3 because of the number of hooks we've made with it.
Sure.
I'd like to make more hooks with 3 so we can get comfortable with the setup. And we run 3 because it works better for Outlaw 2 and then you set a motor. Otherwise, you would be adding 2 motors and you'd be changing 4 superchargers.
Absolutely, and I imagine with that too, you'd have less movable weight, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would.
Because the three Hemis with the 1471s are becoming really popular in modifieds across the board, and we're even starting to see some of the other organizations running the 3 Hemis with screw blowers just because it allows them that liberty to put it to the track without frying the tires and move the weight around. So the 3-engine combination is becoming very popular out there. Do you think the 3-engine mods will beat the 4-engine mods at Louisville this year, or is it anybody's game?
I think.
Well, we sure hope they do.
Yeah. How many motors do you guys have total? The other thing that works nice is the motors on that modified are identical to what, Seth, you're running in your T-bucket, right?
For the most part, there are little differences. I think we've got some different. Two of them are identical, and the other 2 are identical. And the only difference between those set of 2s is rod length, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell I kind of know this story, but the fans, I'm sure, would like to know. Tell the whole world the amount of motor shuffling and what bounced from what this summer, and what got injured and what came back. A lot of neat motor bouncing around happened with your team this year.
First
but you
night out
worked quite a bit too.
We had a great year. We broke one first night out at White Rock, Texas. here on the tractor right away to be able to go to Rock Valley. And then we made it till about the end of July, and we broke an engine in a two-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Reed was driving that night. He won the class.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were fortunate to keep pulling the rest of the year because Donald Nelson loaned us an engine through Buckner, and then we had our motor back in at Spencer.
So you were talking about you have your two separate rod lengths and your combinations. The same stroke on the crankshaft, then it's just different compression height on the pistons on those, or what?
That's what our engine builder wants to do, and we've had two of those switched over now. And
Okay.
Brian Knox builds our engines, and that's kind of what he wants, kind of his combination.
Okay. You're still having a little bit of trouble hearing you guys, but I think you said you're running the same stroke on those motors. So there's probably not much difference in horsepower in the two, is there? Not a whole lot. Okay, Seth, how did you get the the pick to go to drive the two-wheeler at Louisville this year?
I guess it was my turn.
It was your turn, huh?
Cameron Reed drove there last year, so I guess it was my turn this year.
Okay, good deal. Now you
How
had
many-
what, a couple of wins this past season?
Yes, sir. I couldn't say how many.
Unionville and
Not that it was that many. I'm not trying to brag, but yes, sir, 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah, you won
Name
it.
them off for me. I know Unionville was one.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Lufkin was one, and then right there at the end of the year, and then Spencer, I had a second, and then Wisner, I think we had a third right before that Saturday night.
okay.
And then Cameron won with the T-bucket in Sac City, and then that's where you damaged the motor. So are you just listing your wins, Seth, or are you listing the wins for the truck?
I guess just mine is what I was doing.
How many wins did Cameron have with it then? So it was you guys did. You had a really good season. Finished third, I think, in points with the modified. The T bucket. Did it come in at about third as well? Is that right? I don't remember off the top of my head. Came in fourth. Okay. How many years for each vehicle have you guys pulled at Louisville?
That's how many times I've been there and ran.
Yeah, I can remember the old setup. The old setup ran with 3 motors by default. Is that, if I remember correctly, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't it have 2 facing outward and 1 forward in the middle?
Yes, it did, but when it was built at the time, it was built to run 3 or 4, depending on where we went. It ran 4 and it was 2 sets of motors.
Yeah,
I've
that was
never-
the three Chevy combination he was running on that one, Mike. He had 871s on there. So Seth, this is going to be what, your first time pulling at Louisville, right?
No, sir, this will be my third time.
This is your third time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
I'll get over it, Ron.
How did you do the first 2 times, Seth?
It's not even worth remembering.
All right, we won't talk about it. We won't go there. We won't talk about it. No, hey, we're starting clean slate here. You know, it's a new
Yes,
year,
sir.
clean slate.
New chassis for the truck.
This is the one that matters, okay? This is the one that matters for us. 2024 is the year for you guys. So who do you see, each of you, I'll ask both of you, who do you see as your biggest competition?
Ooh, good question.
At your pull in Louisville?
I'm saying the guys that beat us in points in the 2-wheel drive class.
I'm more worried about the Texas guys than you are anybody else, huh?
Texas guys are just as capable as anyone else. I mean, there's so many big names that are going. We're just trying to fit in with the crowd and see if we can pull something out.
Yeah, both the classes that you guys are fortunate enough and blessed enough to be pulling in are stacked. And, you know, I say this with absolutely no disrespect to any puller out there, but some of the classes you can kind of look at and say, okay, here's within reason who we think is going to be top 5 or top 3. In the modifieds pulling at Louisville and the two-wheel drive trucks pulling at Louisville, you can throw all 12, or, you know, obviously the two-wheel drive trucks has even more. You can throw even more than that in there, and any one of them could win.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Yeah, we're trying to hear you guys. It's like I said, every once in a while, it's kind of gotten muffled again. It hasn't popped back out here to the normal sound. But sorry to spring that on you today, Seth. I thought maybe Cameron called you and told you that.
If you'd have given me a day heads up, I might have been able to pull something together. A little better than this.
Were you going to bring in your own mobile studio, Seth?
Yes. It's not very impressive either.
Hey, it all works. It all works. Well, it's Tuesday, February 6th. It's the week before the farm show. We're live with Cameron and Seth from the Neves, the Cotton Candy, whatever, High Cotton, whatever you want to call it, pulling team, Neves Family Farms, pulling team out of Texas, McAdoo, Texas. They're going to be in Louisville next week, modified in the two-wheel drive. If you have any questions, please type them into the comments. We'll put them up on the screen so Cameron and Seth can comment on those for you. So,
hey, Seth, let's jump back over to Unionville really quick. So I went to the Unionville pull, not to announce, but just as a fan. That one's pretty close to my hometown. And I stood up there in the top row of the bleachers and you know, just walked the pits, and you guys weren't there. And the mod class is starting, and you guys weren't there. And we're hooking mods, and you guys weren't there. And then all of a sudden, here comes your hauler just rolling in. And I mean, there's 3-4 hooks left. And I'm thinking 2 questions. Are they going to get the mod unloaded and ready to go in time? And is Seth going to have any chance to even look at the track? Well, you could tell him what you did without looking at the track in the T-bucket, and you could tell us what's it like to jump in the mod before doing anything. Tell us the Unionville story. Got there a little late to the party.
We had plenty of time for the two-wheeler to look track over for that. But with the mod, I mean, I think the only reason we got the hook is because Wayne went too far, Longnecker, restarted the class. And being in that first class, they were having a little trouble getting the show rolling, and so it gave us just enough time. But I think,
Uh-oh, they're locking up on us.
Yeah, it kind of went away completely there, didn't it? Yeah, see, Seth, you're pulling on Thursday night, right?
Yes, sir.
And then Cameron, your hook is when? Saturday? Wednesday.
Hopefully, again Saturday.
And Saturday. And
Hopefully.
You can go ahead.
Well, that's what I meant.
We'll go ahead and count that, you know.
That's what I meant.
Just slow down.
I won't complain if we get to pull on Saturday, no, but
I was already counting you in there. So,
Yeah.
okay. So the tractor is going to pull Cameron driving on Wednesday night on Valentine's Day. And then Seth will be pulling the very next time with the two-wheeler on Thursday night. And hopefully we'll end up in the finals there. Josh Stevens. Got a lot of people watching tonight. Josh Stevens asking, do you prefer floating finishes or full pulls?
that's what we've been doing with Outlaws for years, Ron.
Yeah.
We really like that because you hook one time instead of twice.
Right. Yeah, and that's something a lot of fans miss that too. And of course, the time constraints of events anymore too. If you had several classes going to a pull off, yeah, not only is it harder on the equipment to make that extra hook, it also adds more time to the show. And Lord knows some of our shows are plenty long enough, to be honest with you. So back in the day when the pull off was standard operating procedure, pushing the equipment as hard as we are today. I mean, Cameron, back in the 80s, your dad was pulling and such. You guys, I mean, you might have been pushing them hard, but not nearly as hard as what you're pushing them now, correct?
Competitive.
You know, and what I saw happening, and I really got into the height of my fandom in the late '90s, early 2000s when pull-offs were still pretty common. But what we started to see was you'd get 3 or 4 or 5 vehicles in a pull-off, and they'd have to make a turnaround so quick, and their motors are so hot. So the idea of a pull-off is awesome, but then we'd watch 4 of those guys just bump the sled. You know, a lot of times they weren't able to come back, you know, full power, completely cooled down. And then the guy who would win the thing would win in a pull off with a heavier sled, but only go 120 feet. The other 4 guys would straight up say it's not worth it to risk the equipment. So it was natural to go to the floating finish. And I know that's not grassroots pulling, and that's not what we fell in love with, but it's the world we live in. And I think it works for where we're at now.
Well, when you talk about the money involved with these machines as well, these power plants, and of course the supercharged a racing type engine like this, I mean, on alcohol, you know, they're pushing a lot of alcohol past the rings into the oil pan, and that's always a concern, you know, making multiple passes as well. So it's safer to do the floating finish. And of course, like I said, the time constraints of an event, you almost have to do the floating finish. I mean, sometimes we have special events where we'll have a shootout or a pull off, like we did in Wayne, Nebraska, the Limited Pro shootout. You know, when you plan for it, yeah, it works. But now
you can bring it back at the end of the night too, Ron. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, the 4-1 shootout, you know, that works. It still makes, you know, that's a big show in Wayne. And you know, it made it a little bit longer, but you know, most of the crowd stayed. But yeah, a shootout or a pull off is popular. It's just the time for it, and of course, you know, do you really need it? But of course, the shootout too is extra money too. So there was $3,000 extra going to the winner. So it was winner take all in that deal. So
Cameron, what's your first Louisville experience? What do you remember? How young were you when your dad pulled there for the first time?
Jason, it was in 2000. No, excuse me, 2001. And
Okay.
we were back then they were running 2 sessions of mods, a Wednesday night and a Friday night.
Okay.
And we were number 1 hook the first time we looked at Louisville.
So let's go back. Let's combine the 2 topics right there. We're talking about pull-offs. We're talking about Louisville. It's a shorter track. Horsepower's done nothing but gone up. One thing we've seen pretty consistently over the years at Louisville is these mods are going to get down there. They're going to get into the sand pile, and that's kind of a debate in and of itself. Is a pull-off almost guaranteed at Louisville with the modifieds, just to avoid burying them in the sand? Do you think there will be pull-offs this year with the mods?
There are, and sometimes they're not. If we're fortunate to get the sand pile, we will rehook again.
So you'll drive it right in there, not worried about it, and bring it back if you're able to bring it back. That's awesome. I love that mentality. Do you bring the sand home with you? If you've been in the sand pile, do you have it? Some pullers will put it in a water bottle and hold on to it as like a memento. Do you have bottles in the shop of the Louisville beach somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
So you're sitting here like, shut up, Mike. We want to run. We want to get to that sand pile. So, well, this is the year. This is the year.
I read an article today that was about the city of Louisville, Kentucky, and how this event alone this next week will bring in over $24 million to the local economy there in Louisville. This is like the Super Bowl of pulling here. I mean, this is the most widely watched pull in the world as far as live stream goes and everything. So does that weigh on your mind at all when you're out there getting ready to hook, do you think about any of that? Do you think about all the people watching, or is it just, are you super focused on the end of that track?
Driver introduction suck. You get nervous doing that. But the pulling's not too bad. I mean, just like any other time, you just try not to screw up.
You know what?
I wonder how much of that 24 million gets spent at Stooges.
Say again, Seth.
I said, I wonder how much of that 24 million gets spent at Stooges.
Oh, I don't know.
A lot of it.
That's
Yeah, Seth introduced me to Stooges last year. Yeah.
maybe that's where the 24. That's actually 21 of the 24 million comes from profits earned there.
Well,
Had a
I
really good time.
not all of that's probably claimed either, if you know what I'm saying. So it's all good. So,
Go
So
ahead,
you
Mike.
said the driver interviews. While I'm sitting here, this is kind of what Jason and I've talked about too. Pulling is becoming so much more available to people in the social media. Well, Seth, by the time that we're bringing you around for an interview all the time, and then you guys have been gracious enough, you're going to come back by our booth and do another interview with us. I mean, you're going to be so used to talking to people and introducing yourself and whatnot that those driver interviews, you're liable to grab a hold of the mic and start announcing or something.
No, sir, that will not happen.
Oh,
Seth
man.
does not enjoy that kind of stuff. So he'd rather.
Just no more photo ops like Wisner, Seth.
No.
I think you saw that at the banquet, right?
That was embarrassing.
Jason, are you keeping up with these? I don't know where you
I
stopped over here. I'll
You
leave
just
you
be the
alone. I'll let
host.
you produce. Sorry.
You be the host. Shut up. And talk. Let me do the
All
work.
right.
Shut up and talk, Ron.
All right. So are you guys all going to convoy up there, all the Texas guys? You guys travel together when you go to Louisville?
The group is going through, they're going to travel through Memphis.
Okay.
They're going through Joplin.
Are they a little farther east than you all are? Is that why?
Side of the state.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, you guys are over there somewhere around Lubbock, aren't you?
Or 49 miles east of Lubbock.
So I've always wondered this about Texas truck and tractor pullers, and I love them. The state of Texas, I mean, you could list, in the Outlaws especially, but even there's a handful outside the Outlaws. The state of Texas really represents truck and tractor pulling so well. But the miles that you guys travel is just, I mean, it's big. You go over a lot of ground. Where did you guys get so big into pulling, kind of being removed from your prototypical Midwestern states, your Iowas and Indianas and Missouris and whatnot? How did pulling get so big down there to where it's worth traveling that much?
When I was a kid, it was an association called Texas Truck and Tractor Pullers. And it was a member state organization of NTPA. Losing interest, so we had to do it. We want to keep pulling. We had to travel. So we started running with Outlawed in the early 90s. They started off with a group out of Springfield, Missouri, Main Attraction Promotions. And from that, and we started going more Outlaws, and then Outlawed, Iowa tractor pullers joined up with Outlaws, and that put us further in the Midwest, and then it's just kind of grown from that.
And you never regret, and I mean this in all honesty, I'm not making a joke. You don't regret those miles one bit, I'm sure, because it allows you to keep doing what you're passionate about and what you love.
No. The season, we are getting tired of traveling.
And that's one neat thing that I really like that the Outlaw organization does is it goes down into Texas and gives you guys some pulls that are in your home state. Ron, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, how many pulls in Texas typically are there? 2, 3, 4, something like that?
Three big events down there, all 2-session events. White Right, De Leon, Peach and Melon Festival there, and then the Dragon and Pulling into Pines in October in Lufkin, Texas, which that event's growing every year.
Yeah.
So I foresee that one as to keep on growing with the focus they're putting on it. So, and I'm sure the Texas guys like to end the season down there. I'm sure that's a plus for that event as well.
Well, and especially when it comes to so many of you mod and two-wheel drive pullers, you can kind of end it in your home state, because a lot of times it comes down to a majority of you guys kind of duking that out down there. So, yeah, that's I'm thankful that you guys are always putting in the miles and putting in the work, because you do such a great job with your equipment and you put on such a great show. We'd be lost without you. You guys make an amazing, you're wonderful competitors and great entertainers, and it's awesome.
And the Outlaws, our organization has generally more hooks in each class than your other national organizations. And how much these Texas guys love to pull, because if they'll have 20 hooks on a mod tractor, and they'll still go hook on an off weekend with the Texas truck and tractor pullers. How many passes do you put on the tractor or the two-wheeler at a season, guys?
Pulled last year. Truck 30. I'm not sure for sure. I'm not positive. I'm just guessing.
That's right around about the time the rods need to be changed out, isn't it?
Well, they didn't last that long, Ron.
If you're too late, they'll let you know.
Yeah, white right. You got one pass on it for one exit at the building there. So, what's your favorite place to pull? I guess you could put Louisville in that category, but what's your favorite place to pull overall, and what's your favorite outlaw event you pull at?
Louisville. It's a big deal to get to go there. My favorite pull outside is White Right, because it's in our home state. We've been going there for 40-something years.
Wow.
The valleys and the Wizards are nice too.
Mm-hmm. Now, White Right, it's over on the east side of the state, isn't it? That's still, and see, this is what I was sitting here saying, it's wonderful that we have pulling in Texas, but us Midwesterners, we forget just how big Texas is. How long does it take you to drive to White Right? Okay, so that's not crazy. That's not crazy.
You driving or George driving? That's George driving. Forget the speed limit signs then.
What's the closest outlaw pull to your guys' hometown? What is it? Is it Lufkin, or is it right, or what's the closest one?
De Leon, Jason. We're 3.5 hours to De Leon.
Okay, gotcha.
I've never been to De Leon, but everybody says it's like Death Valley, California or something. It's always hot there, right?
It's a little bit warm.
It's a dry heat. You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
So everyone tells us in the Midwest, it's just humidity. You'll get used to it.
Yeah. It sounds like a fun event, a Peach and Melon Festival. That sounds like it'd be fun. But, I always hear it's really hot there. But,
all I can say is I noticed that the Texas pullers had their jackets on at Wisner this year. So, Texas is obviously hotter than that.
Yeah, everybody had their jackets on Rock Valley.
Yeah, you talk about some extremes. You were down in the chilly temps at Rock Valley, and we were turning into puddles at Wisner. So we ran it all this year.
Yeah, that was there. I think even Jason was wearing a coat up at Rock Valley on Friday night this past season when it got down into the high 30s there, I think.
Well, the two-wheelers ran late, Friday night, and they were having a hard time keeping the windshields clear. So that's one good thing about having a T-bucket, I guess. So that's, there's no windshield. So
I think it was about 1:45. They pulling two-wheel drive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I called it the 1.5 session Saturday morning from Friday night.
I got a question for Ron on this. I'm going to treat Ron as a guest here. So talking about that Rock Valley pull, you guys did go to about 1:45, and then the Saturday morning show started earlier than initially scheduled. as an announcer who speaks for, 7 straight hours and then turns right around and does it again less than 6 hours or whatever the math is later, how do you do that? Are you running on fumes at something like that, Ron, or do you just grab the cold train and the adrenaline?
Yeah, a couple good strong cups of coffee in the morning and you're good to go. But the voice will usually hold up as long as you're not pushing it too hard. I mean, I sing as well, and you learned a little bit of this at Wisner this year, where you had the vocal slapback coming back and delay was causing us to talk. Remember that? Whenever
that was one of those things that you don't know until you learn it the hard way, I guess. Man, there's a lot of little nuances you have to learn along the way. That was tricky.
And if you can't hear yourself talking, and it's the same as singing, that's why singers have monitors, is you'll push your voice harder to hear yourself. It's just a natural thing you do. You're talking, you can't hear yourself, but you just talk louder. You don't realize you're doing it, you can lose your voice. Now, I've come close to that times before, and sometimes I've caught myself saying, lay back a little bit because you're pushing too hard. But I don't have any problems at Rock Valley. At Wisner now, with 3 sessions and playing music 2 nights, and then you had 3 nights of alcohol to the mix. Yeah, by Saturday night, it's starting to get a little weak.
Well, plus, you've got the Iowa State Fair the 2 days before it. That's 5 straight days of some of the hardest hitting pulling anywhere. And we'll even go back to the pullers here. How do you like that stretch where you go straight from the Iowa State Fair to Wisner? Is it a grind, or do you love it?
Going to a one hook deal and going home and having to go back. The travel experience, diesel fuel is pretty hard on us sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Russ Dostal is asking if you'll have any t-shirts this year.
We'll get some t-shirts.
Oh, I've got a great side story for that, and the fact that I don't have a cotton candy t-shirt. So I'm a school teacher, as you know, and at our school this week, it was our court warming. And so we had a theme for every single day. And one of the days that they did was Cotton Candy Day. And all the boys were supposed to wear bright blue and all the girls were supposed to wear bright pink. And I thought, man, I'm not wearing either of those, but I could have the coolest shirt in here to celebrate cotton candy. If I had a Neves Farm cotton candy racing shirt, that would separate me from the crowd. So I'm going to have to get one so that way I can wear it to cotton candy. We had a Cotton Candy Day. I thought we were celebrating you guys. Turns out they were wearing blue and pink.
We'll do our best, but no promises.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, there we go.
Does the cotton candy name, was that just a natural one from the cotton farm? Is that kind of something you guys always had that you ran with your teams forever?
Right in the 1973.
And then the high cotton was just a natural step away from there, with the expression and the song and everything. When did the two-wheeler make its debut?
2017. Right.
Question for Cameron and Seth here. Eric Claypool wanting to know if the party bus has been rented.
We couldn't get one. We've got.
You're not driving the big van this year?
We don't have the big van.
Oh, man, Ron, you're out there.
It's just a regular size van this year.
Okay, all right. You guys had to twist my arm pretty hard last year to get me to go to Stooges with you. You remember that?
It was real hard, yeah.
Oh, I was a busy driver, right, Ron?
I was wandering aimlessly through the parking lot, and this big white van pulls up beside me, and I'm like, "Oh, great, what's this?" It's the Neves Farms party bus, and they rolled the window down. We're going to Stooges. You want to go? What's Stooges? Just get in.
You'll see. Jason, is this penciled in on the beer money agenda? Is this a part of our itinerary? The trip to Stooges?
I'm going to tell you flat out, I can't go that hard anymore and still be awesome all day long. So it's going to be very, very, very real with you guys. So
I thought that's why you were bringing on all of us to help you out.
Yeah, no, I've been through that stage in my life and I enjoyed it and I was awesome. There's still good stories about me, and but it's time for you younger generation to pick up the slack. So
Does that mean pick up the slack in partying or pick up the slack in working when you party?
both. Makes a lot of fun. No, it's a great, I mean, Louisville's fun because you just get to see everybody and making it all happen and everything like that. Cameron, what does pulling mean to you and your family? Like, do you think about it every day, or is it a part of your life, or is it just kind of a hobby, or what does it mean to you and your dad?
Well, I think it's a part of our life, Jason. We've been going since my whole life. It's what we do as a family. We enjoy it. Unfortunately, we can't think about it every day, but we have a farm, so we have to try to put our priorities in order. But we really enjoy pulling, and our whole family goes a lot.
Was there ever a time, Cameron, when you were you know, just like, you know, this is too much, we may just throw in the towel on this pulling deal? Never thought that.
You know, I feel like a lot of, and that's a testament. I feel like a lot of pulling families have said the same thing, because there's been a lot of points throughout the 50 years of pulling where people would have understood. You know, we've seen the price of diesel fuel get insane. We've seen the miles and the traveling get insane. We saw COVID and how hard it was to get parts. So at any point, I think a lot of people would have understood, but family after family after family and pulling says, no, you know, this is what we do and we're going to find a way. And thankful to us fans, you guys keep doing that. So I like that response. You know, never crossed your mind. We're going to pull the whole way. We're going to pull until we get some sand on the front of that tractor.
So what was the first vehicle you ever pulled, Cameron? The first tractor you ever pulled down a track?
One engine tractor.
How old were you? 14 years old. 14. I'm assuming that was George's tractor, and that was he finally gave you a chance. Did you actually drive in competition when you were 14, or was it just like a test hook?
No, I drove it in the real class. we just didn't tell my mother. When I just cranked it up and drove it on the track.
Is she just finding out right now, or did you tell her?
She knew when he brought home the trophy that night.
Watch it.
How about you, Seth? I mean, was the High Cotton the first pulling vehicle you ever drove?
Yes, sir. I had a couple opportunities to drive other people's vehicles, but that came with them wanting to drive the tractor, so that got shut down.
Now, how do you put a rookie driver on, you know, a Ken Vaney supercharged Hemi 2-wheel drive? Do you fatten it up a little bit, Cameron, or you just tell him what to do and let him go out there and put the hammer down?
His first time driving was in Columbus, Texas, and I drove it the first night because it was a brand new truck, and we had a little bit of problem with the drive line. We worked on it all day, and we put him in the seat the next night.
It hooked immediately, I'm guessing, Seth.
It went really good. Yes, sir.
Did you win?
No, sir, but I did let out a little early.
Uh-oh.
It was such a blur, and it slowed down so fast, I thought it was over, so I just pulled back on the throttle. But there wasn't much left. I don't think I would have won it, but I still got third, I believe.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Did you always want to pull two-wheel drive?
What was that?
Go ahead, Ron. I jumped on top of you.
I was going to say, I could see where first time pulling and going that fast, you would think, you know, that you're just going to coast out there, you know, with these race sleds and such. So I could see where being your first time, you'd pull back on a throttle like that.
Yes, sir. My mother had bet me $50 that I wouldn't get the throttle all the way open, so I made sure of that at least.
Did you get your $50?
Yes, sir, I did.
Yes, she paid up.
That's great. So did you always want to drive in the two-wheel drive truck class, and that was a dream that kind of came true for you, or did you ever have interest in other classes?
I've got interest in one class, but
I like the way you take a good hard look at it.
no, logistically, hauling another tractor has never been an option. So we knew for a long time that when we're getting around to building another truck or another vehicle, it was going to be a truck. So a couple
And
years
does that-
before we actually got one built, we started really paying attention to the two-wheel drive guys and trying to pick up on some tricks before we ever got started.
So does that even influence the reason you decided to go with the T-bucket, because it stacks easier in the toter? Or okay, so really, but now that you drive a T-bucket, and we can turn back time about 20 years here when it was a big hot debate across all the organizations, do you feel that there's an advantage? Would you ever drive a full body truck, or do you feel that driving the T-bucket gives you something to latch on to that the other guys don't have?
I think the visibility is a lot better in a T-bucket, but I mean, I've never driven one down the track with the body, so.
Sure.
You know, this is the second version, actually. I mean, 17 was the first year for the two-wheeler, but this is actually going into the third season with this new chassis, right?
No, sir. This was the first year we had it.
2023 was the first year with the new chassis.
Yes, sir. 2023.
You're going into your second season with it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Same power plant, just a different chassis. What was the reason for that, Cameron, that you switched chassis on the two-wheeler?
The other chassis was getting wore out. We thought it would help us if we built a new chassis. So we had the guys at Modern Machine build a new one for us, and we're very happy with that. In fact, we picked it up after Louisville. We left Louisville and went and picked it up. Then we came home.
Okay, a year ago. Okay, so the chassis you did have on it, you had purchased a used chassis then, and used that 17 through the 22 season. Okay, what truck was that before you had it?
Jared Nelson out of Illinois.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no rookie there in the world of two-wheel drive truck pulling for sure.
Yeah. Now last year at Louisville, there was something happened in the two-wheel drive class. You had, I think, 3 teams total showed up with a new tire. I think everyone at Louisville this year will be running that same tire since they finished 1, 2, 3 in the final standings. So the playing fields have been leveled just a little bit this year in that two-wheel drive class. Do you think we'll see a shakeup at the top of the list this year?
What was it?
Last year, the top 3 were the 3 teams running the brand new tires that had just come out and was in limited supply, of course, before Louisville. Now I think every team there most likely will be running that same tire. Do you think there'll be a shakeup at the top of the list in the finals for the two-wheel drive class this year because of that?
I don't know, Ron. There were 2 new tires came out last year. I think you're going to see a mixture of both brands there this year. There was only one new brand out last year. That was Nichols. After Louisville. So I think you'll see both guys running this year.
Yeah, it really shook things up in the two-wheel drive world after Louisville when they seen just how successful those new tires were. So yeah, I think the playing field should be somewhat level this year as far as tires go.
Yeah, tires have been the name of the game. It seems like, the more you watch pulling, every 5 to 10 years, there's a new thing that seems to be what's propelling the sport forward. And I would say within the past 3 or 4 years, it's kind of been a tire wars thing. And the more pullers I've talked to, and this goes back to what we're talking about the pull-offs, it's old saying, there's no such thing as too much power, just not enough traction. And so much more important now more than ever to put it to the ground completely. And so we've seen a higher emphasis on tires, I want to say, than power. And I think we're even seeing this in the mod class too, with them pedaling back and going to the 3 motors and whatnot and trying to put everything to the ground. But tires seem to be, you know, ever since METOS came on board with the tractors and then the new ones with the smaller vehicles, tires seem to be kind of the world right now.
Yeah, I think most of the outlaw mods have switched back for the most part to the pro pullers.
The pro pullers. I saw that this summer. Yeah, which I think is absolutely awesome, because anytime you can look at something this versus that, it gives people something to chew on. So, you know, that makes it fun. That makes it interesting.
Well, let's talk technology here a little bit. Cameron, you know, we talked about you started pulling back in the 80s. And you're same age as me, aren't you? I think I might be a year older than you, actually. You know, you go back to the 80s, you had a single engine Chevy mod. What was you making? Maybe 1,200, 1,300 horse? Or is that more than you were actually making?
Probably more than what we was making.
Mm-hmm.
And then today, you know, each of those motors behind you is what, 3,000, a little over 3,000 horsepower. You know, we're pushing the envelopes of technology with these engines. And I know NTPA plays with the screw compressors, the screw blowers a little bit. Do you ever see a time when the outlaw pullers in the mod class would want to play around with the screw compressors, the screw blowers a little bit?
I think our class is a very even matched class right now. There's new interest. I know there's at least 2 new mods coming out for 2024. Both those guys out in Nebraska. And I think a couple of guys in Illinois will be pulling at Rock Valley at least this year with us.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, sitting in on the meetings and trying to keep everybody kind of on an even keel. You know, it's kind of a challenge, you know, with the different power plants that are out there and such. So, yeah, you know, we keep pushing the envelope, you know, with technology. It was funny because at one point, you know, it hasn't been all that long ago when Wayne Longnecker had the Rolls Royce and was all but dominant in the class with that single engine. I think Doug Voth has that tractor running as good now as what Wayne did, and he still has a little trouble keeping up. So just a testament to technology and the advancements to in motorsports, what these engines are making now. It's pretty wild.
Wayne Longnecker for years lived and died by 12-cylinder power plants. I mean, that was just, you heard the name Wayne Longnecker and you thought, you know, V12 was going with it. And I remember the year that he came out with the twin Hemi, you know, the newest version of the River Rat. Did anybody else's jaw hit the floor to see him make that switch to a pair of Hemis? Or did we know that was kind of coming based on what Ron's saying here, just the way that technology moves?
Well, we've been in shop the year before, doing some work on our tractor in between pulls, and we knew it was going to happen, but it didn't surprise us. It may surprise some folks, yes.
Did he do it happily, or did he do it kind of like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to miss these V12s, or was he like, all right, let's go to the Hemis. It's time to do this? Because I just always pictured him being someone who had those industrial motors.
I don't know, Mike. Question for Wayne himself.
Yeah, so that's a Wayne question.
I think Cameron, though, kind of went through the same thinking, though, the same thought process, running the 3 Chevys with the 871s. You know, I'm sure you go through that thought process with us. I mean, I'm sure you guys were thinking there's got to be a better way we can do it with a lighter setup and still make as much or more horsepower, right?
Well, we started when we built the whole new tractor that year, and we thought we could better ourselves if we went to the 2-engine setup with the Hemis. We were breaking lots of parts with the Chevrolets. Still more power. Now, kudos to the Almers because they make that thing run like nobody else.
I was going there next. They're kind of the exception to the rule there.
Not only the 3 Chevys, but the configuration. In a world where we see everyone putting 2 out front to keep that front end down, they're still running the 3 in a row stacked. It's really, really intriguing because, you know, Cameron, you can see his tractor. He's running that 2 out front, 1 behind, which is kind of the bread and butter setup. And for them to run the tiered, the stair stacked, you know, where they don't have that weight on the front, that they figured something out. There's no doubt about that. Did you notice a huge jump when you went to the Hemis from the Chevys? Just did you feel that it made a noticeable competitive difference?
Yes, I think it was that. There's that combination of the engine. There's also the combination of the chassis. I think that the wedge works better for our amount of horsepower we run.
Yeah, the old chassis was pretty flexy by the time you finally let it go. It was probably too flexy for a 3-engine combination. I think you would agree, Cameron. So where did that chassis end up? I'm assuming somebody ended up putting a single engine on it somewhere.
Wait, Ron, it went to Michigan first, and then it got resold, and the guys got it Illinois, as far as I know.
Oh, Muffy ended up buying it first. Is that what happened? Yeah. that guy's got his thumb on every mod chassis out there. I think. I don't know how he ends up with some of those things, but guys, I'm going to give you the floor. Seth, you can talk a little bit too. If you guys want to thank anybody, if you have any sponsors or just folks that help out, family or what have you, I'll let you guys have the floor and say all your thank yous here.
Well, my biggest thanks to this guy and George. And I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for George's start of the addiction, and it's definitely carried on downhill to us.
Cameron, any folks you want to thank?
For us still being able to do it, we do it together. We go every mile together. Thank Brad Corporal for building us two good chassis that work good for us. He retired. We moved our engine program over to Brian Knox at Boyd Performance, and he does a great job for us.
Awesome. Well, guys, best of luck to you. Have a safe trip on Sunday over to the Bluegrass State. I'm going to be over there. I should be over there by Monday night, Monday afternoon, and we'll see you over there. Good luck to you.
Thank you guys a lot.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you
on,
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
All right. You know what? We've just about got all of the outlaw pullers going to Louisville on the show. With the exception of a few, I've had trouble reaching out, getting a hold of Frank Bowboy in the light superstock class. But then what we have left now are the rest of the two-wheeler guys from Texas. And we're trying to get all them rounded up for next Tuesday for a live in-person interview. All of us sitting around the round table in Louisville. So hopefully.
What are you thinking, Ron? You kind of have a spot picked out for that yet next Tuesday, or what are you thinking?
Well, they're supposed to have a media room there. If we can get access to that Tuesday night. If not, you know, I'm not opposed to sitting in a back of a hauler. You know,
Right.
A media room would be ideal. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a media room at Broadbent. I don't know if there is anything that with access to it, you know, anywhere else. We'll have to come in and double check on all that. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Jason, the studio looks pretty good there. You got the TV going in the background and the sponsor.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We finally got the right lights put together. We had to buy some box lights, and then I got a mic now. I got Mike a mic. I got Mike a mic. It's kind of funny.
Do we have the same mic?
I got a Yeti. I don't even know what that means. I
Yours
think
The Yeti.
Yours is white.
Yeah,
Mine's a frosted frog.
Yep. So I want to get something to set on the table here. But is my sound good? Does it sound clear?
Yeah. It sounds really good.
Your level is a little low.
Is it?
Yeah, a little low.
Is that better?
That is.
I turned the gain up a little bit. So.
Yeah.
No, I just feel bad that Seth and Cameron had crappy service there because they're they're such good guys to talk to. There's so much knowledge there with Cameron, and I just love watching George be around the tractor. It's a hoot, you know. And then I know he drives the toter a lot. It's been fun. So it's been fun.
They were the very first family that I met in the outlaw pulling world when I went up to I think it's the pull playing in the background right there. When I went up to Sac City and I called my first pull, they were the very first ones I talked to. And from the minute I met them, they were nothing but, enthusiastic, mannerly, they're awesome. It'd be hard pressed to meet, more supportive and better people out there. So yeah, they're the cream of the crop for sure.
So folks, and also some folks were asking, and we've been advertising this on every show leading up to Louisville, but if you want to watch, if you're not going to Louisville to watch the pull and you want to watch it at home or at a watch party, watchpulling.tv. Right, Jason? That's the site to.
Yeah, I put it up earlier on the show. I had it in the comments.
Watchpulling.tv is you get on there and set up an account to watch the live stream. Now, they probably have a deal. I'm not certain. They might have a deal where you get all the sessions for maybe a little bit of a better deal. But watchpulling.tv, the live streaming channel to watch National Farm Machinery Show, the 58th running of the National Farm Machinery Show. So.
I think it typically runs. We've streamed it in the past, and I think it's like 110. And don't quote me because you get on. As soon as I say something, I'll be way off. But I want to say it's about 110 for the whole week's worth of shows. We paid it. That's worth it to us. That's really not bad. I don't remember, $25 a night, $30 a night. It might be more than that actually. But
Jason's getting the scoop right now.
He's gonna buy it and show us right at the minute.
I'm not gonna buy it because I'm gonna be there. But yeah, it looks like it is. They don't have the price on it until
free.
It's not free. I can promise you that. Let's see here. Get access now.
He's going to accidentally buy it.
So it's $150 for all the sessions, or it's $40 a session.
40.
And you can watch it up to a year. So, well, that's just for. I clicked on the Wednesday one. So for all 5 sessions, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday would be $150, which would be $30 a session, which is a deal.
Save $50. Yeah, it's that'd be a deal.
And then it looks like you can watch it. You can replay it up to a year. And this is watchpulling.tv. So.
And then the title sponsor this year, where in the past it's been Syngenta for a long time, is Farm Credit. A little bit of speculation if there's going to be some kind of surprise singer come out or something. In the past they brought out Lee Greenwood. They always played Proud to Be an American. And I know when I was there in 2018, there was a big secret that Lee Greenwood actually came out and sang it live. A little bit of speculation out there. I've been hearing some rumors that they might have something in store. Not sure if that's true or not. Could just be rumor, but who knows?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything like that yet. But we all run in different circles and hear different things, so it's all good.
What about any rumors on a certain awesome outlaw announcer singing any national anthems again this year?
Wednesday night, I heard that Ron Stone's singing the national anthem. So.
Yeah. Singing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yep. Going to sing on Wednesday. Funny reading some of the comments, folks talking about the media office and the bullwhip trailer.
Yeah, Stephen Foster. I don't think he has it anymore, but he had a 3.0 diesel truck, the fire truck one with the flatbed on the back. Did you guys ever see that one? He calls it
the International.
Yeah, the old like a prairie fire truck.
Yep.
I think it was. I always called it "Stay With It." I think it's "Stay With It" if I remember correctly, but I don't
remember.
We'll check on that. But yeah, the Texas guys are a lot of fun. They all kind of park together at the outlaw pulls, and if you're ever hungry, you just go over there and they feed you well.
Sometimes at the Texas events themselves, they have somebody bring in a whole trailer and truck, and they feed everybody for a couple of days. That's pretty cool. They do it up right down in Texas. Jason, tell us about the booth, the Beer Money Outlaw booth you're going to have over there.
Yes, so we got a booth together. We're going to booth 3194. So I bought High Tech Redneck. It's getting wrapped right now. We're going to pick it up Friday and then put it in. It'll be inside the Louisville, earlier in the day. And then the show opens up Wednesday. We're going to have our merchandise booth in there. And we're going to have some Outlaw calendars that people can get for free, some handouts. We're going to have some Pullers Championship calendars. There's going to be some tote bags. And then we're going to have Outlaw banners on each side of the banner. So just really, obviously, the beer money pulling team is a big part, teaming up with the Outlaws. So we're representing the Outlaws while we're down there with our new tractor. I really obviously wanted the tractor to be in there. And then after I kind of quit feeling sorry for myself, after about 30 minutes, I was like, you know what? I got an idea. We had a booth last year and the merchandise went pretty good. And I thought, let's just get a bigger one. Let's go for it. And here we are. So I'm pretty pumped about it. Pretty pumped about it.
Yeah.
So.
Austin watching. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
No. I'm really excited.
I was just going to say, I think any year that you don't qualify to pull, you should go ahead and take your tractor back to the booth. And then like 45 years from now, you can say like, hey, this tractor has been to Louisville like 45 years in a row or something like that. And you can claim that title.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. And Austin's got a great comment up there. If you guys haven't seen it yet. So yesterday, I live in Richland Center, Wisconsin. Brad Campbell had his diesel super stock, and he's the lone diesel super from the Outlaws pulling at Louisville. He had it on the dyno yesterday. And we had him on the show last week. And they had heard it the week before and took it home, fixed it and came back to the dyno. And so Meisinger texted me late Monday night and said they were there. And Chandler went down yesterday. If you guys haven't seen those videos, they're awesome. Please go to the Outlaw Facebook page and scroll down 4 or 5. It's amazing to see that there because that's a wheel dyno. Like with my 4.1, when we go to Hearts, we'd split it, and just take the front half of the tractor on an engine stand, if you will, and hook it up and run it. They actually back it in, take off the rear wheels, and Brad sat right on it and drove it on the dyno. It's wild. And it's one of the coolest videos I think I've seen to watch that smoke and then all the comments. And it's pretty fun.
You know what I was thinking the whole time watching that, every time I watched it, Jason? I had my fingers crossed saying, don't blow.
Yeah.
They're pushing them just as hard on the dyno as they do on the track, and those things are crazy.
I'll bring that video up for you guys for everybody to watch at home. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, a dyno runaway the week before Louisville. Can you imagine?
That'd be bad.
Should.
I think he heard it on the dyno a while back, didn't he? That's why he's back up there now.
Yeah, he heard it the week before he came on the show with us last week, Ron. And then he came back
George
on.
Meyer did the same thing with his 4.1. He heard his on the dyno as well. Yeah. So it can happen for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, when you're pushing these things, they don't know where they're at and they don't care. When the weakest link is going to go, it's going to go, and it's just as liable to happen there as anywhere else.
And being a wheel dyno like that too, they're getting the power at the rear end, so that's not true engine horsepower. So the engine horsepower and torque is going to be more than what that reading is at the wheels like that.
Let me get this set up here, guys, quick.
Marty Samuelson's asking if the new tractor is going to be in Ravenna. I think I can answer that for Jason and say, yes, it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. As long as it's running. So the only time it's going to run before that will be the Pullers Championship. So it's all good.
Where will you make your debut in the seat of it?
The Pullers Championship.
Okay, you will. Your dad's not driving there. You're driving there.
Nope, I'm gonna drive it there, and Dad's gonna pretty much wheel it the rest of the season because I'll be busy with live streams and other stuff like that. So, yep. Trying to figure out why my screen is stuck here, guys. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
We had our Missouri Fairs Convention this past weekend. Guys signed a couple contracts there and had a few tire kickers there for some potential pulls. And we're trying to get that schedule locked down before Louisville. So working some overtime this week, trying to get those contracts in. Maybe a couple of new things on there. So stay tuned to that final schedule coming up real soon. So this is at Blackburn Shop. Where's it at, Jason? And it's in Minnesota, right? It's in Wisconsin.
Cuba City, Wisconsin. Can you guys hear the audio or no of the tractor?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
We can.
Can you hear the audio when I was playing it?
Yep.
Yes.
You can. Okay, I just want to make sure because that's you need that. That's a pretty cool
Very
video,
cool.
guys.
Very cool. Now, will Meisinger be there and kind of helping out with that tractor at Louisville, or you know?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure he is. So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he is. So my tractor's going back in Brad's trailer, so we're taking it to the show and put it on display, and then it's going to live in Kansas, obviously, with Doug and Scrappy. So Scrappy and my tractor will be trailer mates. So it's all good. So.
All right. Well,
Austin's right. It doesn't matter how many times you see that. So.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Very cool.
Yeah, Jeremy keeps saying that High Tech Redneck will become a John Deere and be called the Wood Duck Express. So Angry Duck is wrapping it, and they're gonna. So they're making all of our new merchandise for it too. We're gonna have new hoodies and new T-shirts that match the tractor. I actually have toy tractors that we're gonna sell at the booth. We kind of went all in on this, so I'm excited. So
I know a guy that's got a couple of kids.
At 3194. That's 3194. Please come. That's what you're saying, right, Jason?
Yeah, 3194. So
come see us.
I bought a lot of stuff to sell, guys. So I want a lot of people to come by. So.
The Idle boys are going to have a couple of new toys after next week.
Oh man, no! I should have brought it up. So their favorite modified is the cotton candy modified, and I don't think there's any toys out there. And my dad's been in model making. He's been making toy models of them, and he actually made a cotton candy toy modified like 1/64th scale. And then my sister, who's pretty handy in artwork, painted it up. Yeah, so they've got a toy cotton candy on display downstairs. So we'll have to
see that.
It's on my Facebook. I'd have to pull up my Facebook. It's a little under construction right now. Okay. We've got to talk to some 3 and 5-year-olds about how to play properly with some of these toys. So it might be getting a new chassis as well. So we'll just leave it that way.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna put in the comments, guys, the link. There was a link to Angry Duck that show them peeling all the. So High Tech is all painted on there, but like some of the small stickers for like the like a club or whatever, they're peeling all those off and they're gonna wrap over those. If you go to Angry Duck Graphics and roll down a couple, you can see that it turned out pretty cool to see them do that. So it's been fun to watch them.
When we got that video last night, I thought, we're getting an ultimate sneak peek. But you're giving nothing away. You got to come see it in person at Louisville to see what it's going to look like.
Well, the coolest part about a reveal, that's like for me, the farm show is like who's got a new tractor. Like last year, Craig Ledwig brought out his new Pro Stock, the Fent, and that's the only Fent. And I don't care what motors underneath what sheet metal. I'm not one of those like true whatever they call those guys and gals crazy like that. I just want to think it'll be fun. But the Fent last year was going to be fun, and I can't, obviously I want to make our new tractor being a big deal as well. So it's all good. Yeah, we'll have it online as well, Dallas, after the show. So Dallas Todd's asking about that. So yeah, no, it's been fun tonight, Ron. Let's just kind of get a plan for next Tuesday for all of our fans that watch. The goal is to get the Outlaw Pullers together next Tuesday night somewhere and just kind of do a round table. That'd be a lot of fun. Yep. So
we're 1 week away. Tomorrow night will be 1 week, kicking off the 58th National Farm Machinery Show. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you to our guest, Cameron Neves and Seth Markey, pulling next week at the farm show. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to all the Outlaw sponsors. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mike. And we'll see you next Tuesday night from Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.